Hello, good morning. In Maryland, it's morning anyway. Good evening, happy Sunday to those of you in the Philippines. So what's going on, guys? Say something, that's what it says. Maybe I should say something. What's up? Thank you, Amelia. What's up, guys? Thank you, Amelia. Yeah, you too. Happy Sunday to everyone. I hope this finds everybody doing just great. And finally, it has stopped raining here in Maryland, and the sun is actually coming out, which is a big plus because we haven't seen the sun in a while. And the grass in my yard is growing very, very tall, and I haven't had an opportunity to cut it. Hey, Shelley, happy Sunday to you as well. And hey, Maria from Luzon, same to you. How's the weather in the Philippines? Is pretty much the same? I guess it's like summertime now, so it's probably pretty hot. Hi, Editha. Hey, Lucy. Hi to you. Hello to everybody. So I think that the topic for this, I mean, it could be whatever you want. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in there. But I wanted to discuss dating sites. So I don't know how many of you are. I'm good, Lucy. Thank you. I don't know how many of you are single and looking, or if you're already married or whatever. But when I met Vivian, I met her on a dating site. Yeah, raining in the afternoon. Yeah. The site was called Asian Dating, and so anyway, yeah, I signed up for Filipino Cupid. I put a profile there, and there's another one called Date in Asia that's free. Filipino Cupid, I had to pay a subscription, otherwise I was not allowed to send a message to anybody. So far, they're not particularly, Asian date's a scam. Yeah, I found quite a few scammers in both of those sites. Actually, I mean, I would suspect that a lot of them are. Well, good, Sheila. Good. Yeah. So that was at Filipino Cupid, huh? I had heard good things about Filipino Cupid, but I've also encountered scammers there as well. But you know, um, yeah, Filipino Cupid, Lucy. Hey, Eden, how are you? Eden from Tokyo. Date in Asia. I've heard about that one, but I've never checked it out. Um, and I don't want to, I don't want to sign up in a bunch of them. Just one or two is enough, you know. And plus, I'm not really sure what my. Oh, that's cool. You met your boyfriend there. On which one, Lucy? On Date in Asia or um, Filipino Cupid? But yeah, I'm just getting started looking around. He's a jealous man, huh? In Filipino Cupid. Yeah, yeah. So these things, it's just a place to meet, and so from you have to take it from there, right? I mean, once you meet someone, then you got to get to know them, and so I'm not in a particular hurry because I'm not sure when I'm going to be back in Cebu. I was thinking that it might have been this June, but I have some work I have to do, so and I may have to go do that first, and I also have some projects that the company is working on in Taiwan, and so I don't know if I'm going to be going to Taiwan for work or not. So I'm kind of just hanging out, waiting to see what my business travel plans are going to be, and then I can work in getting to Cebu. I can work that in around all the other stuff. There you go. Yeah, let's meet and sing together. Well, if we meet, we'll probably do just that. Um, I'm good. I'm good, Lydia. How are you? So, yeah, that's kind of what's going on. So, tell me about your experiences on the dating sites. How's that been? I see some of them in. No one's serious yet, huh? Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sheila. Yeah, um, it's pretty hard to do, and lots of pervs, huh? Yeah, Kai, I'm sure. Sort of meet up like most who follow. Yeah, I did that. When in what was the end of November, beginning of December of last year, when I took Vivian's remains back to Cebu so we could have the funeral service and everything. I actually set aside time on a day and told everybody that I was going to do like a meetup at the Starbucks at Ayala Mall in Cebu. And I went over there and bought a cup of coffee and sat for an hour, and no one showed up. So I guess it just wasn't a good time for them. But now, OK Cupid, is that an app for the phone or is that a website? Yeah, yeah. I visited my mom on Mother's Day, and So Maria was telling me about being introduced to her boyfriend's mother via Skype. Um, yeah. Well, it takes time. It takes time to meet your someone. Finns. Uh, it just doesn't happen overnight. You know. And to be honest with you, you got to kind of weed through a lot of those profiles and stuff. It takes quite a bit of time, and then chat with someone and decide whether or not you really like them, and it's a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, I'll let you guys know when I'm there, of course. Yeah, um, when I'm back in Cebu, and we'll do another meetup um, somewhere along the line. The last time it was kind of sad circumstances. I mean, I wasn't particularly happy or any. I mean, I was burying my wife, so it wasn't really a good time. But people had asked me about meeting up, and so I did put some time aside to meet up with folks, and they didn't avail themselves of it. So that's just the way it goes. So yeah, it does take time, and it takes a lot of paging through profiles um, and dealing with scammers. I mean, you're going to get some of those. I had a friend who was scammed out of. Um, she was in Singapore, and she was scammed out of some money. And um, I think the scammers like to target the OFWs because they figure OFWs have some money and can afford to spend on, you know, so they sucker people in and then hit them up for some money. But of course, the best way to get around that is to make sure you meet him in person. Hmm. Thank you, Bahabs. I don't know how to pronounce that. Behabs. Anyway, thank you. I am doing well. I'm doing okay. Um, so we're talking about dating sites and whatever else you want to talk about. To be honest with you, if you have a question, throw it up there in the comment, and I will address it. But yeah, it does. It takes time, and you got to go. There's a lot of paging through. Um, you know, what are they called? Profiles. And hey, Jeffrey. Um, so you got to page through the profiles, and you got to navigate the scammers. You know, there's going to be a number of them. Almost always is. Then when you meet somebody that you think you like, you can move on over to Skype or something like that to chat with them a little more in depth. But really, I mean, it's nothing's ever for certain until you actually meet physically, one on one in person. So if you're a Filipina, you live in the Philippines, then that means the guy needs to travel to um, wherever you are, Manila or Cebu or whatever. And thanks, Rachel. And so that's when you find out for real. I know in the case of Vivian and I. Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. In the case of Vivian and I, we met on Asian Dating was the name of the website, but it was 6 months later when I made the trip to Cebu that we actually spent time together in person, and of course that's when I fell in love with her. So yeah, yeah, that's true, Maria. You gotta feel out those if you don't want to relocate. Um, Sometimes the things are only temporary too. Like in the case of Vivian and I, um, she was coming to the U.S., but it was really only intended to be for a few years. And then once I retired, then we were going to go back to the Philippines. Unfortunately, she didn't make it. Yeah, well, regardless of where you meet, um, hey, Steve, um, regardless of where you meet on a dating site or whatever, it's still a relationship, and sometimes relationships just don't work out. Sometimes, it doesn't. I think what Kai, you're saying 3 years, and the relationship didn't work out, and but not all relationships work out, even in person. Even if you meet someone, at the mall or whatever, um, it still may only last for a short period of time, and you may find out that. Um, okay, Jeff. I need to check the email. I haven't done that lately, so I will need to do that, and I'll get back to you. If there are questions that are, if you're okay with just dropping them here in public, feel free to do that too. Um, Otherwise, if they're real personal or whatever, then I'll have to get back to you later when I check my email. Yeah, hey Fins, it's going to take time. The other thing, the other thing I think is important is um, mouse dust. Okay. Hey Tommy. Um, the other thing that's important is when you set up the profile, the dating profile, that you put the right information in there, or what you're really looking for, and also pictures. That's one. My son was actually telling me about this. That one of the signs of a scammer is that they only put up one picture. The profile picture. Um, every Filipina that I know has a phone full of selfies that she's taken. Okay, Vivian and my stepdaughter and all their friends. I mean, they just take a gazillion pictures. So make sure you put up a bunch of them. You know. Yeah, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, babe. So that's true. But yeah, you should have more than just one picture up there. You should have a number of them, and obviously pick flattering pictures. The best photos you have of yourself, put those up, and also in the descriptions that you put, make sure you're honest about what you really want. And so a lot of like profiles that I've been going through, looking at them. Hey, Ars, thanks. Happy Sunday to you as well. But a lot of the profiles that I've been going through are very cookie cutter. They all pretty much say the same thing, and so not everybody is the same, and not everybody wants the same thing. So yeah, Fins. But the purpose of the pictures on the on the profile of the dating app is to attract attention. You want, I mean, that's the very first step, right? That's the very first step. So you're just getting that person's attention. And then after that, you're going to chat and text, and then probably move to Skype or something like that later. And so you can flush out all of the things you're looking for. So um, I wouldn't I wouldn't be against you putting up the sexy picture because that'll attract the guy's attention. Most guys, that's the first thing. Well, I think of all people, the first thing we notice is their appearance. So yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to do that. Just because you put a sexy picture up and it attracts attention doesn't mean that that person's not going to like you, you know. And eventually down the road, you're going to flush it out anyway. If the guy's only interested in sex, then you're going to find that out pretty soon. Um, and what guy isn't? Most guy, every guy I'm a guy. I'm certainly interested in sex. So, um, but obviously, I want more than just that. And you guys know that because you've been watching me for however long you've been a subscriber of the channel, and you certainly know um, a lot about my life and Vivian and myself, our lives together. And so we were very much in love with each other, and we had a great sex life. But there was everything else too. So yeah, fans, don't be afraid to put up a sexy picture. It'll attract attention, and then after that, you might get a little more attention. I wouldn't go too sexy. I mean, you don't want to, to be honest with you, you're going to end up attracting perverts, and you know what I mean. Perverts and scammers and stuff. I mean, they're just out there. You just got to learn to deal with them. Um, delete them, block them, do whatever you got to do um, to them. But yeah, and you got to remember that they're, I don't know. I'm trying to remember the number, but there was like 20,000 people online at one time on this, um, on the site at one time. I mean, and you've got to, somebody's looking. They got to find a reason for picking your profile to go check out. Um, and you're doing the same thing, right? I mean, the girls are doing the same thing. They're looking through profiles of guys and trying to find one that they like. Hey, Derek, welcome aboard. Um, there's a lot involved in that question, Derek. If Derek's asking about, he's talking to a woman in the Philippines and wants to know how much a passport and a B1. I'm not sure what a B1 is, but I can tell you that all total, it was about $3,000 for Vivian to come here, and it took 10 months. And that was after we were married. So we were married in the Philippines. Then it took about $3,000 in 10 months. When you add up all of the fees for filing, I'm not sure how much a passport. I'm not sure what she will, obviously she'll need a Philippine passport. So I don't know how much they are. And that process was called CR1. I don't know. I don't know about a tourist visa. I thought the visa itself, I think, is around 300 or something. I'm only guessing. So you should be able to look that up. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you. You should be able to look that up online, though. The State Department, or USCIS, I guess. No, it's probably just State Department if it's a tourist visa. But yeah, you can. It probably has all the prices and stuff on the website. I know they do for all the other visas. I just never look for a tourist visa. I've never done that. Hey, Vivian. $950 to 1,200 pesos. Okay. So Babe says, Derek, Babe says it's about 950 to 1,200 pesos. So it's not too expensive. And I think you need to carry a couple of photos with you. Yeah. With those 2x2 passport photos. And there's lots of places that make those for you. Run to the mall or whatever and have a couple of those taken. Yeah. Thanks, Vivian. Well, you said you're far. How far away are you? You mean far from Cebu or far from Maryland? Because Cebu is far from Maryland, so be honest with you. But I like it there. Ah, okay. Oh, hey, Derek. Well, my neighbor. Oh, so you're in Miami, Vivian, or you're in? Uh, Derek. Babe says the B1 cost about 160 US dollars. So, yeah. Now, one thing you got to be careful of when it comes to traveling on a tourist visa is if if you really like her, I would not get married in the United States because they may charge her um, with visa fraud. Okay, so if she travels to the U.S. on a tourist visa and with the intention of getting married, um, to you, then she's committing fraud, and that could be a big deal for her. So, but if she travels on a tourist visa and tours around, and you two spend your time together and everything, that's still all that's fine. But don't get married and then try to apply for uh, an immigrant visa all on that same trip. You should probably make another trip. Ah, so Vivian, are you Puerto Rican or Filipina, Vivian? You just and recently moved to Florida, huh? Yeah, I used to hear a lot about tourist visas being very hard to get. I don't know if they still are, but I had one subscriber tell me that she just, when she went to the visa, she applied for a tourist visa to come to the U.S. And when she went for the interview, they asked her why she wanted to go, and she said she wanted to go to Disneyland. So, and they gave it to her. So, I guess it. I guess it all depends. Hey, Elizabeth, going to the Philippines instead of India, or maybe both. Hmm. Yeah, I've never been to India, so I really can't tell you much about that. But I love the Philippines. It's just a wonderful place, and the people are very friendly. Um, Never really had a bad experience there. I mean, I had a few people that looked kind of sketchy and approached me. Like one guy, well, you were in the video about the when Vivian and I went to open air market, there was some guy trying to sell me belts, you know. But Yeah, yeah, it does. It does take a while. I'm looking at Sheila here is saying K1 visa takes about 8 months or more to process everything from start to finish. Yeah, and like I said, the with Vivian and I, we did the CR1 visa, and that took about 10 months, and it also takes some money because I had to put Vivian on a plane, so after paying for all that stuff with the fees and everything for the U.S. government, then I had to buy airfare, so which was another like 800 bucks or something for her to fly from Cebu to L.A. And then I flew out from Maryland out to L.A. and met her there. So yeah, yeah, yeah. It's about what it's going to $3,000 to $4,000. Yeah, hey Derek. Yeah, you want to do like I said, just be careful. Don't go getting married while she's here, because it may set her up for a charge of visa fraud, and you don't want to deal with that. So, but she certainly, if she's able to get the visa, come, check out the United States and get to know it. But she should go back to the Philippines, and then if you want to get married, either you can go to the Philippines or you can do what Sheila's talking about, the K1, which I think is the fiance visa. They have a visa for that, and it'll take time and money, but you could do the K1. Hey, Stella, good evening to you as well. Morning for me. Well, almost. Only about a half hour of morning left. Then it will be noontime. Somebody else asked about the vaping. I like this better than cigarettes. Um, I guess neither one of them is really good for you, but this doesn't have all the other um, ingredients in it that tobacco has. Tobacco, carbon monoxide and tar and ash and all that kind of stuff. So, in that respect, I would suspect it's a little better for me, but still probably not the best thing to be doing. But yeah, that's right, Sheila. 90 days. Derek, I don't know about that tourist visa. I'm not sure how long it's good for. Um, I would check with the State Department on that. It may only be good for that one trip, and then when she goes back, it's no longer valid. I don't know. I've never traveled on a tourist visa, so I can't tell you. But yeah, the K1 is the visa you want to use if you're actually going to get married and you want she wants to become she wants to get a green card and stay in the states. Um, the K1 visa is a little more complicated on the back end. After she gets here, you get married, then you have to apply um, for permanent residency and all that kind of stuff. There are more steps to go through at the end. Um, the nice thing about the CR1 that Vivian and I used, even though it took the K1 usually happens a little faster than the CR1, but hey, Steve says tourist visas are good for 3 months. and then after that you have to reapply. But the CR1, when I filled out all that paperwork, the Vivian automatically got a social security card. They sent it to her, and and her green card and everything came right in the mail. As a matter of fact, when they stamped her passport, they wrote in their CR1, and that was her temporary green card until the permanent one came in the mail, and that it came pretty fast. It was here within a week when she arrived. So, but for the CR1, you have to already be married, obviously. Um, K1 allows you to bring your fiance in, and then you have 90 days in which to get married, or she has to leave and go back to her home country. So that's kind of a cool thing. At least you get to spend a couple of months together um, to decide. I mean, getting married is a pretty big step in one's life. So you want to make sure that you're marrying the right person, and that you can really, you can you can live with her. So you need to make that decision too. All right, guys. It doesn't look like I missed him. Hmm. All right, guys. Any more questions, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Uh, I'm starting to get hungry, so I might go fix a little lunch here. Made some Maryland style crab soup. Yesterday I made it, and I'm gonna heat some of that up and have it for lunch. No, no, the vegetable crab. I like that better. Thank you, Sheila. Yeah, I visited Mom on Mother's Day last week. Yeah, took her a piece of cheesecake. She loved it. All right, guys. Well, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go make heat some lunch up. Cool, cool. Yeah, if you're from Maryland, you're gonna love crab. That's for sure. All right, guys. See you later. Happy Sunday, everybody.